I don't think there is any special talent required to get through civil service exam.
How do you tell the aspirants now to, stick to limited number of resources?
It is not about the, the topics, it is not about the material, it is about how to use the material according to the requirements of the questions. If you ask me who should be your guide, only two guides, that is the syllabus and the previous year questions.
One quality that makes an officer.
To succeed in the exam, systematic hard work. You cannot be sitting there and say that I don't know what is going around in this world and I am still preparing for civil service.
Do you agree with having a plan B?
If you start preparing, it should be first 1 year or till the first main exam. You should not have any other plan.
When we talk about civil services in India, we always talk about the ranks, the list, the toppers. We usually forget the mentors, the institutions that shaped them. Today, in conversation with us, we have Mr. Jojo Mathews, the director of ALS IAS, who's made what Mukherjee Nagar is today, the education hub. Sir, you have mentored more than 2 lakh students in your career, with over 3,700 in the services and 6,000 plus in the state services. Sir, we welcome you. Before the institution, before the officer, sir, I would like to know Jojo Mathews, the young student that he was.
Basically, I come from Kerala, and after my plus 2, I got into REC Durgapur, that is a present day NIT in Durgapur, Bengal. And I'm a mechanical engineer by profession in 1992. And at that time, definitely, civil service was never in my agenda or in dreams. So as usual, it was just after the economic liberalization started and struggling for jobs. I got into a job in Bangalore. I was based in Coimbatore, a marketing job, a mechanical engineer. So things were going on. So I was not a very bright student or anything. I was a normal student. And in fact, in Durgapur, I was a backbencher, no doubt regarding this. But I used to clear the exam in one go. I mean, all the papers in one go, no supplementary exam, no supply. Otherwise, nothing extraordinary to talk about as a student. So that was my beginning.
But you did appear for the mains thrice and you sat for the interview twice.
Yes.
Does it still pinch to not becoming the officer that you
at that time, the kind of guidance and all what we talk, it is quite less.
It was quite less.
So it was all trial and error. We had to all struggle to reach what we could achieve. So first time when I, appeared, I did not have any guidance. So what happened was that this idea of civil service exam came after 2 years of my job. So I did not have any idea about how to prepare, no mentor. I did not talk to any senior for that matter at that time. I did not know anyone at that time. So I just relied on an advertisement in the newspaper, from the Hindu newspaper at that time, by the brilliant tutorials from Chennai. It was basically a distance learning institute where they used to supply material, the content, printed booklets were there. And by seeing the advertisement, I asked the counselor over phone regarding this course. They said, I think the course is around, 5,000 rupees at that time. And they asked me, what is your optional subject? So I did not have any idea about all these things. Then I told them, see, I am a mechanical engineer. So what kind of options I can take? They suggested, in fact, this counselor over phone, 5 minutes talk. She told me that why don't you take mechanical engineering and physics? So I said, yes, let me take. I did not know I can take even art subject at that time. Any other subject for that matter. No idea whatsoever. So they sent the material. I paid the money. They sent the material. When the material came and I opened it, then I realized that, I am not a good engineer, or my knowledge in mechanical engineering is quite poor. I realized at that time. So, but by the time I already applied. So physics was my preliminary subject, and I thought physics and mechanical engineering will be my optional subject. So I failed in the preliminary exam. So immediately after failing it, by the time I had, since I was moving around, I happened to meet a couple of people. Then they also told that, this is not a subject to be taken. So that is how I dropped both mechanical engineering and physics. Then I took geography and anthropology. So that is how a new beginning after the first attempt. The second attempt was from geography and anthropology.
Anthropology. Okay. This brings to my next question. Earlier, scarcity was a challenge. Today, I believe abundance is a challenge. How do you tell the aspirants now to, stick to limited number of resources and not actually look out for all the available options in the market? What suggestion do you have to give us?
See, today, as we all know, I mean, we are living in the era of this internet and AI and then reels, and there is no end to information, and some of the correct information, some of the wrong information. We always say, WhatsApp University is going on. So, it is information overload. I mean, it is unimaginable quantity of information.
Yes, sir.
But what, as a candidate, what we should remember is we can write only 150 words or 250 words in an answer. A 150 word answer is just 5 or 6 sentences.
Yes.
250 words means 7 or 8 or maybe 9 sentences. So, how to use minimum? And in fact, when you prepare notes also, we have to keep it very bare minimum. You should have a clear understanding of what kind of questions are being asked. And accordingly, we should, jot down the points. Otherwise, you will be killed. Because you will be overburdened by information, overburdened by the kind of, topics and things which are happening. So it is going to be it is a big challenge for the students. See, in our time, maybe even 10 years before, the focus was on collecting information. We used to say that even students come to Delhi saying that they are coming to collect the information, prepare the notes, or rather get the notes and go back home and study. But now, no need to come to Delhi to collect information. You sit anywhere, if you know this is a topic to be studied, you can get the information. But the question right now is which topic to be studied and what is more important, what is less important.
Right.
So this is a big challenge. So it is not about the, the topics. It is not about the material. It is about how to use the material according to the requirements of the questions, the kind of questions which are being asked.
Right.
We have to be very, very focused on the kind of questions which are being asked and the trend which is going on. We have to be careful. Otherwise, you will be misguided. In fact, this right now the focus should be what not to study.
What not to study.
Not what to study. What to study, is it's something, everything it looks like important. Now, and if you try to collect everything from the newspapers, it is going to be a big challenge because, every day we are getting information. So even if you start collecting 5 topics a day from the newspaper, over 1 year it becomes 1,500 or 1,800 different topics. You cannot revise them. So it is a big challenge. So today's issue is how to use the information. Earlier it was how to get the information.
Get the information, right. So I think what I understood by now is strict adherence to the syllabus and referring to the PYQs is the basic.
Definitely. In fact, if you ask me who should be your guide, only 2 guides. That is the syllabus and the previous year questions. You have to read it every day, I will say. Whichever topic you are studying, you should look back to the syllabus and you should look back to the questions and the kind of question that the tone of the question, that is very important. Then try to catch the information the way it is asked. Then only we will be able to use it.
So, especially in the post-COVID era, a lot of cheaper coaching models and teaching modules are there on the internet. Do you think they can any day replace the traditional coaching models that we have?
See, there is a space for everyone.
There is.
It's something like, if you look for a restaurant or a hotel or to eat food, you have street food also. You have medium-sized hotels are there. You have high-end hotels are there. You get tea for 10 rupees and 12 rupees now, and you go to Cafe Coffee Day, and they may be costing 200 rupees also. If you go to a 5-star, it is 600 rupees. So there is space for everyone. But the issue is, as a student, we have to be more careful. For students, if you don't know what is good and bad, and according to the requirement, The challenge is how to, again, some people may be able to get through even by, free coaching, which is going around in the, online space. But they should know which topic to be picked up, and which maybe influencer to follow, and all those things are very important in this. So I cannot say that a cheaper version will replace or anything. Maybe more people are preparing for the exam right now, since cheaper information is available. Now many people will start thinking that even I can do this. In fact, I always feel that anybody can do this if you get the right guidance, if you have the right if you are in the right channel, I will say. I mean, the right focus. If you get the right idea, anyone can get through this exam. You don't require any special knowledge or special caliber. The caliber is how to organize the information, how to memorize the information, and how to write it at the right time. You have only very little time. No? Suppose you have a 10 marks question. You have only 7 minutes to write an answer. So, how to write all your information in your brain properly in the answer sheet. That's a challenge. So it's a lot of management is required. Your talent is one thing, and all of us have this talent. I don't think there is any special talent required to get through civil service exam. The talent is your ability to sit long hours, without boring, without getting tired. You keep preparing, and then how to utilize your information. Some practice is required. So otherwise, the coaching and all, no teacher can make you IAS.
Right.
No teacher can claim that I made somebody IAS. That candidate has become IAS because that candidate worked in the right way and prepared in the right way, practice in the right way. So many people understand this. Many a times I say that some people, even after preparing for 10 years, they will never understand how to prepare. Some people, maybe one speech, maybe one lecture, maybe one idea, they can use, then they become. They can, if they are able to implement it, they can become. But the challenge is, who is that fellow who is able to understand it in the right spirit, in the right from the beginning. Nobody can predict and tell you. So now I will say the market is open, or rather the space is open. Anyone can fight and become. Only thing is that they should. So I always feel that come to me, or rather come to a good teacher. The teacher, by and large, all of us will say the same thing only. I cannot tell something totally different and say that you do this secretly and you will become IAS. I don't have any secret, strategy to tell. All of us, all good teachers will be saying the same thing only. But who is able to execute? Who all are able to execute?
Right.
That execution is the challenge. Most people only talk.
Right.
They have good intentions, but they don't execute. So it's all about execution.
In the right.
Yeah, in the right path.
In the right.
Yeah.
Right.
So those basics I can always, or anybody can, any good teacher can give good guidance. I don't think any good institute, any good teacher, most of us will be saying the same thing only. We will see, all of us will be saying, for example, we all say that, okay, you must read newspaper and collect information and you cannot overload the information.
Right.
Any good teacher will tell the same thing.
Right.
And no teacher will tell that, you read thousands of books and try to become IAS. It will never happen. Similarly, all of us will say that your basics should be correct. Your basics should be perfect. Your basic understanding should be good. NCERT is the right place to get the basic information, the correct information, no mistake. Or rather, there can be some mistakes in the NCERT, but it may be 1% information may be wrong. But that will give you a proper base and foundation. So the basic philosophy is same.
Right.
All of us are advising the same thing. But who all are able to execute it? New generation has different thinking. Sometimes people say, no, I cannot sit and read so many hours. I don't want to do this. So like that, if you start thinking, nothing can be done. And then some people will come up and say that I did not read anything, still I became IAS. I think it is all lie. And nobody can become IAS by fluke.
By fluke, right.
They might have invested right from the beginning, right from the childhood. A lot of information is there, a lot of knowledge may be there already with them. But generally what I have seen, 99 out of 100 people, they are really hardworking people. spend a lot of time for preparation, then they have become. But after becoming IAS, you can tell a couple of lies, saying that, "No, sir, I did not do anything. I just became, it happened." But you should take such, people with a pinch of salt. It may not be true. Suppose I say I don't work hard. I became a teacher without working hard. Then I will be telling a lie. Nobody can become a good teacher or a good student without working hard. That's the truth.
Right. So you mentioned about reading newspaper. How mandatory do you think it is to read newspaper?
You must read newspaper. How do we know what is going around us? If elections are going on, you should know something. If the war is going on in West Asia, we should know about that. It is directly linked to our syllabus. Suppose there is a Supreme Court verdict. It is part of our polity. If there is a new policy by the government, or if an economic policy, or if it is a new now if the petrol prices are going up, how it is going to affect the economy, how it is going to affect the poor, poverty, unemployment, everything is linked. Everything is part of our syllabus. So newspaper is part of our syllabus. So there is no need to talk about it. Now some people say, I will read something curated by somebody else. Now this is a problem. Now what is according to that person important is what you are trying to read. There can be problematic. In fact, most of the people who prepare material are those who failed in the civil service exam. A failed candidate is making the material for you, and then you are saying that is the final word. I mean, you have to be a bit careful. And some of these, online channels these days, AI-based information is given. You have to be a bit careful whether that is required for us. What is the kind of question? Again, best way is you should take support of everybody, every information. Maybe even some of the channels, some of the websites who are curating and giving newspaper information. But I personally feel that you must read the newspaper by yourself, at least for half an hour every day, to know what is the whole picture. Suppose I give you, from an article, 10 points, collected from an article, suppose a 1,000-word article, and if I am giving you 100 words, now I have chosen something excluding 900 words. Now, whether it was actually important, whether I missed everything, nobody knows. So you should also have that first-hand information. So I feel you should have at least a cursory glance, or at least half an hour you should be spending on actual newspaper, so that you have a complete picture of what is going on. At least you read the headline. I'm not saying you read the whole article or whole newspaper by yourself. You can collect some material from other sources also. But first, every day, my feeling is read newspaper for half an hour, maybe 1 or 2 full articles. Rest, you just flip through the pages to see the heading. Even headings will tell you many things.
Yes.
Even by reading, suppose there is a bus accident. You need not read everything about the bus accident. At least you know that 10 people died, 5 people died.
Right.
Or if there is a train accident, you know that, okay, in so-and-so state, this accident has taken place.
Right.
Or if the plane crash is there. Or something else has happened. Or even sports news. Even if you don't like sports, since you are preparing for civil service, you should have some idea about that. Okay, who is winning, who is losing, some broad idea.
Right.
So, this newspaper reading, flipping through the pages, I always feel half an hour is a good enough time. And then you identify topics, couple of articles, make notes, convert that into part of your study material. That is the key. Just cursory reading of newspaper is not going to help you at all. That will only tell you what is going around in a broad way. But making notes from the newspaper, at least 2 articles a day, 2 information, 2 news a day, maybe 2 editorial a day, whichever is, at least 2. You should collect and write in your notebook.
Right.
So that is part of your study material. And then you study, revise, memorize, write answers based on that.
Right.
So half an hour, which I said, is only for flipping through. Another 1 hour is required for at least to convert that into a study material and knowledge. So at least 1.5 hours then for the newspaper, minimum I am saying. As a beginner, even if you take 2 hours, I don't mind. But without that, I don't think, you cannot be sitting there and say that I don't know what is going around in this world. And I'm still preparing for civil service. And especially when it comes to interview, main exam. You are sometimes, the questions which you answer are those questions you might not have prepared thinking that this question is going to come.
It's even going to be there. Right.
And in the interview time, definitely current affairs will be there. Definitely. See, otherwise, how can they make out? In fact, I give training to students who come for the interview. Hundreds of people. So, those who are good in newspaper reading right from the beginning, their answers are totally different from those who are suddenly reading newspaper just because they are getting an interview call. That can be very dangerous. So, newspaper reading, no doubt, it is very important.
You have answered my next question in a way, but my question was, if you have to give one advice to the aspirants with respect to them preparing for the final stage of the process, the interview call, and if you have to tell them to prepare right from day one of their preparation, what is it that you would advise them?
See, interview is a personality test. What kind of person you are. Okay, your character is tested there. Knowledge is not, but knowledge is important. Without knowledge, nothing, because there is no conversation.
Right.
If 5 intelligent people, 5 seniors are sitting and asking you questions, and they want to know about you, and they want to test your character. Are you suitable for this job? Are you suitable as a civil servant? Can you get along with other people? Are you honest? Are you, prompt? Can you take decisions fast? All these things are tested there. So, but through knowledge, they have to ask some questions. So, your knowledge will be displayed, no doubt regarding this.
Right.
Your knowledge will be displayed, but character is tested. So, if you are a good person, and if you are honest, if you are hardworking, if you are, organized, if you have, whether you have empathy, whether you have sympathy, are you concerned about the country? See, I have seen, many are not concerned about others. If you are a person of that kind, that will be reflected in your interview. And then you will lose marks. So, you don't think that, interview preparation is something where you read and become a good character.
Right.
You have to live the character. You have to be a good person. Then automatically you will get good marks. See, interview is not a test of knowledge. Interview is not a test of your language. Interview is not a test of your appearance. But appearance is important. Your language is important. Your knowledge is important. But the real test is, are you a good person? That you have to live. 2 years of time. Suppose you are starting today for civil service preparation. Next year, if you are writing the preliminary, naturally 1 year time before the exam, and 1 more year after starting your preliminary. So almost 2 years of time you have. If you start, living some of, or you are following some of the good qualities. For example, stop telling lies unnecessarily. So then that will become a habit. Be punctual in every activity, whether it is this activity, that activity, be punctual. So punctuality can be a good habit for you. That can be part of your good character. You can always boast and tell. And be honest. Show your sincerity and honesty and integrity everywhere. So that in interview, you don't have to manufacture and tell that I am a honest person. You have to just present yourself, and automatically your honesty will be reflected in your answers. So, character building is very important in interview. Knowledge, definitely for the exam, but if you are a good knowledge and character, if it is there, your marks can be 70%, 80% in interview.
You have been in the UPSC ecosystem for more than 25 years now. What do you think has really happened to the industry? Has it gone noisier? Has it become noisier, or it has improved?
See, as technology improves, as we can travel easily now, accessibility has increased. Our internet system, TV, everything has changed. So naturally, with time, things are changing. We always used to say like, every 5-7 years, a generational change is
A
happening.
generational change.
So now it is maybe every 2 years, 3 years, this generational change is happening. So the change is bound to happen. Information is easily available. So things have become more and more people. Even if you are sitting in a remote place in this country, they can also prepare for the civil service exam. I think today, because of location, because of far-flung areas, or rather because of a poor institution in which you studied, you may not be stopped from becoming an IAS. So naturally, things are changing. The coaching is changing. People are getting access. Technology has changed. But again, how to use, how effectively a candidate is able to use this information. Are they still but basics are same. No? Ultimately, you have to write answers.
Right.
Knowledge should be there. Character should be there. So now you may get more practice tests and all. You may get more practice interviews are there. Hundreds of preliminary oriented exams can be there. Practice tests can be there.
Right.
Main exam, answer writing, test series, everything is there. But if you don't participate, only because you paid somebody, you are not going to become IAS. Only because you joined a test series, you are not going to gain. But you have to write it with sincerity. Every exam, every test should be taken as if it is your final exam. If that seriousness is there, then you will get the benefit. Otherwise, you will not get the benefit.
So, if you were to name one quality that sets an aspirant and an officer apart, what is that quality going to be? One quality that makes an officer.
See, two things are here. One, to be successful in this exam. Okay. Another is to be successful as an officer. Both are different.
I'm talking about succeeding in the exam.
To succeed in the exam, systematic hard work.
Systematic.
And your focus on practicing the answers. Hard work in the sense, if you are just reading and collecting information, that is also hard work. But every day, there should be enough time for converting what you collected into your knowledge by memorizing, organizing, then practicing how to write that answer in the paper in that given time. Because answer writing is the challenge, the biggest challenge. In fact, if you look at this exam, even 10 years before, what was the case? See, when I still remember when we people were writing, the answers which is required. For example, in GS, a 150 words answer, we used to get around 9 or 10 minutes, 10, 11 minutes. And a 250 words answer, we can get almost 15, 16 minutes. But now, half the time, we had choices. Normally, we are asked to write 2 out of 3.
Yes.
3 out of 4,
yes.
Like that. Even in optional subject, from 2 sections were there, write 3 questions, and out of that, 1 or 2. So, lot of choice. See, now you see no choice. 20 questions in GS.
Right.
And and the number of words which you have to write, if you add just the number of words, it is 250 words, 10 questions, 2,500 words. 150 words, another 10 questions. 4,000 words in 3 hours. It's not easy. And then we are given a booklet, answer booklet, space limit, word limit, time limit. Very tough unless you practice. So, this exam has completely changed. It's a totally different world. Suppose you go and take advice from an IAS who got through, say, 10 years before, he may not be able to guide. If he comes and writes, he will fail. That's the truth.
Sir, geography is your forte.
Yeah.
That has been your optional subject also. Students find it a bit technical. I myself have found it technical. What is the advice that you would give to the aspirants to study, especially to the humanities students? How to study geography? I find it difficult.
See, in fact, I feel geography is the most interesting and most dynamic, the easiest to study. For anyone, be it a science graduate, be it an arts graduate, there is some objectivity, there is some science, some arts. That is something, the right blend of both. It's not pure science. It's not pure abstract.
Right.
And, in fact, even this is the most scoring in the entire GS. And not only that, the maximum number of marks, questions also come from here. If you take geography and environment together,
Right.
closely linked.
Right.
In preliminary itself, you will get around 25 questions out of 100.
Out of
Come to the main exam, it's almost 200 plus. Because, in paper 1 itself, there are 100 marks worth question in geography. Then in paper 3, we have this environment and disaster management for 50 marks. Then there is something called that economics plus geography mixed, that agriculture, industry, irrigation,
Right.
minimum support price, all geography linked.
Right.
You can say an economics teacher may say it's economics, but if you study in geography, in fact, in school, in our NCERT books, it's all part of geography only. So it's 200 marks here in main exam, at least 25 marks in a preliminary, and then most importantly, even in interview, if you have a good understanding of geography, you can answer many questions very easily.
Right.
You can guess answers. And as an administrator also, if your geography is good, you can be a better administrator. If your geographical knowledge is good, you can be a good administrator.
Yes.
So, and then again, the beauty of geography is you don't have to study something very in depth. And another thing, if you look at it, is there is hardly any geography graduate in India. All are new to geography.
Right.
Right? Even in schools, I don't know whether you remember, most of our geography were taught by some teacher who might be a history graduate or a civics graduate or a political science graduate, ultimately taught us geography.
Right.
So there is a dearth of actual geography knowledge, people with geography knowledge in the market. Anyway, but the best part about geography, I feel, is if you study NCERT thoroughly, 6th to 12th, that is more than what is required in the syllabus. You don't have to have another book for geography. Plus current affairs, of course, if something is happening in news. See, for example, a landslide or say earthquake or a volcano. All these are questions which can be asked, or even El Nino. Every day you read in the newspaper.
Super brilliant.
Acid rain, you read in the newspaper. Or there was some sort of an oil rain in Iran because of the attack.
Right.
So these things are all in news. And if there is a El Nino, La Nina, and all these terms, droughts, floods, then all these are current affairs.
Right.
And it is something which anybody can read and understand from the newspaper also. Plus NCERT. Geography is covered. In fact, the most scoring, most scientific among the GS, other than science and tech, we can say. So you should not be, all you have to do is that start from 6th class NCERT. One by one you pick up. Complete your NCERTs first. Prepare notes properly. And that is the base. Then any material, any simple material can cover the rest of the things. It is not difficult at all. And it is the most scoring, I would say.
You have simplified it so much for us. Okay. How do you really think that the student should deal with uncertainty in this exam? This is a very uncertain process. How do you think that aspirants should deal with that?
See, when the stakes are high, uncertainty will be there. And in fact, this one exam, maximum uncertainty, minimum certainty, no doubt regarding this.
Right.
You take this, like while applying at the applicant stage itself, more than 10 lakh people are applying. At least 5 lakh will go and write the exam in preliminary. Just 12 or 13,000 people clear the preliminary exam. Then from there, around 2,500 or 2,700 go for the interview.
Right.
1,000 ranks. Out of that, 180 IAS, 200 IPS, 40 IFS. So the success rate is very less if you look that way.
Right.
And then it's a very long exam. Is it not? Today, if you start preparing, if you think of preparing for this exam, say in the month of May or April 2026, you are writing the first preliminary in 2027 May. You write the first main exam, if you clear that in August 2027. You go for interview in maybe January or February 2028. even if you get through in one attempt, it is 2 years for you. So it's a very long time. So you cannot even foresee things. You know, I mean, since we are all, new generation, you cannot think of what will happen a week later. We cannot even plan for a week. Now, if you have to plan for 2 years, that to be successful in the first attempt. And if you are taking a second attempt, it is 3 years.
3 years.
So that kind of uncertainty is always there. And you have to maintain your focus for the next 3 years. You have to maintain your timetable. You have to maintain your time schedule. If you are reading 8 to 10 hours per every day, at least 6 to 8 hours every day we have to maintain that. Consistency is the key to success. I always say discipline. The disciplined hard work with time. If you fix the time that you will get up at 6 in the morning, you have to get up 6 in the morning every day without fail. Maybe once in maybe 30 days, 1 or 2 days you can skip. A cheat day can be there. But otherwise, every day you have to follow the routine. You have to read newspaper, you have to read NCRTs, you have to revise every day, you have to write answers every day, you have to practice mental ability, maths, reasoning every day. So it has to be a constant, regular, repeated process. Repeated revision, repeatedly doing the same thing is the key. So uncertainties can be reduced through systematic hard work. Otherwise, if you are not a candidate where if you are not preparing or if you are not doing it regularly, then uncertainty percentage will go up. We say it's pure. Some people say it's all luck. I know there is some luck, but that luck percentage can be reduced if you are systematically working hard. Okay. If you are writing answers every day, and that with the time limit. Because as I was mentioning earlier also, to write a 150 words answer, you can take only 7 minutes. To write a 250 words answer, you can take only 11 minutes. But if you systematically write answers, if you write answers every day with that time limit in mind, if you practice multiple choice questions with time limit in mind in exam condition, your uncertainty part will come down. Otherwise, uncertainty will go up. So it's all about how to reduce that uncertainty through hard work. A person who works hard, systematically and in an organized way, that uncertainty can be minimized. Otherwise, uncertainty is always there.
Right. Do you agree with having a plan B?
Definitely, there should be a plan B. Nobody in this world, you should be a fool if you don't have a plan B. Only a fool can say that I have no plan B.
What is that right amount of time or effort that you should put in?
See, plan B does not mean that you should be doing that along with the preparation in the first day. See, in fact, I will say if you start preparing, it should be first 1 year or till the first main exam.
Right.
You should not have any other plan exclusively for civil service preparation. Immediately after writing the first main exam, you can think about all other plan B, plan C, if you want to go for a work, part-time, full-time. But 4 to 5 hours, you should find time to study for civil services after the first main. Till the first main, maybe 8 to 10 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours, if you work every day, I will be very happy. But after the first main exam, 4 to 5 hours every day. You go for higher studies, you go for work, anything you do, but 4 to 5 hours you should be able to take out a day. So that plan B should continue after the first main exam. You write all other competitive exams after the first attempt. First attempt means first main exam, not the first preliminary which you failed. If you fail in preliminary, that should not be even counted as an attempt, because that you tried, you failed, and you are not even a player. When you write the main exam, you become a player in this game. Otherwise, you are a spectator in the gallery.
What, in your opinion, are the 3 common mistakes that aspirants make? See,
I have no doubt regarding the intentions of the candidates. They are all serious. If I tell them to sit and read and make notes for 12 hours, 13 hours, they will do. But if I tell them please study and memorize and, do the self-study and increase your knowledge based on that collected information, people will hesitate. So the first and the biggest mistake is maximum or 99% of the students, they spend time only in collection of information, attending class, making notes, underlining, all these activities they will do. But the moment I say you study this, you memorize it, be ready for a test for tomorrow, you are not ready. So the strategy should be very simple. If you are spending 10 hours a day, 5 hours for collection and reading, collecting, reading newspaper, underlining books, attending class, another 4 hours for memorizing and organizing and self-study, 1 hour for practice, writing the answer, solving the questions, at least 1 hour. I always say 50, 40, 10. 50 for collection and organizing things, at least for the first 1 year. Then, after the first attempt, you don't have to collect for 50% of the time. Maybe the collection time can be further reduced to maybe 30, 35%. Study and self-study and memorizing and organizing your things, revision, maybe 60% of the time, 20% of the time to write answers, solve the questions, practice. Most people, I am telling you, 90%, 99% of the people spend time only in attending class or collecting information. Maybe there are 10% of the people thinking about studying and hardly anyone wants to write. Even after joining a test series. Suppose the 10 test series, if they are joining in an institute, most students hardly write 5 or 6 tests.
Right.
All 10 tests writing fellow, very less. Very few. This is the challenge. You require extra motivation and extra level of commitment to write all tests.
Right.
Your first temptation is to skip the test. So if you avoid that, and then even if you are an engineer, you should practice multiple choice question in mental ability and maths. Reading comprehension, you should practice. Most people doesn't do this.
Yes.
And then they fail in the preliminary in the first place. So the common mistake, and then, some people are overswayed by newspaper.
Yeah.
Only newspaper will not take care of anything. Only NCERT and basic books also will not take care. There has to be a nice blend of both. So it is strategic failure. And then execution. Many people know what is required, but they don't execute. So these are all failures. We can keep counting what all people make mistake. Every candidate has a unique way to fail many a times.
Yes.
Even after having all caliber, they are good enough to be an IAS, but they fail only because they don't execute things which they know. Simple thing, if you join an institute, if you're not attending the class regularly, some people say this teacher is boring. That teacher is not good. You are not going to marry the teacher. You are not marrying the subject also. If questions are going to come, you have to study that. You may not like economics, but questions are coming from economics. So you have to study and you have to perform in economics. So it's simple. No choice.
Right. So let's now move on to our next section, that is rapid fire round. We have a few questions and you have to answer them very instantly. First question being, one thing that aspirants should stop doing.
Procrastination. Every day. Today is the day. Today is the day. You have to write answer of today onwards. You cannot be tomorrow. You have to start memorizing and studying today onwards. There cannot be tomorrow.
Okay. Best newspaper.
See, the Hindu, and in the Hindu the standard is slightly high, otherwise the Indian Express.
Studying in the day or night?
Always day. Human beings are made to study and work in the daytime. After some time, the efficiency will definitely go down. Maybe till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, we may have efficiency. If you are continuing to study till 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. like that, I personally feel the efficiency goes down. Exam is in the daytime. You have to perform in the daytime ultimately.
One book that you think everyone should read?
Maybe our Mahatma Gandhi's, autobiography, or Nehru's book, something where you be inspired to be a true Indian also. Right. It is a must because, after all, you have to serve the nation. And I think no second thought about Mahatma Gandhi.
Do you miss being an aspirant?
See, when we teach, we are an aspirant, because we have to study every day. We are equally worried about the kind of questions which are being asked.
Which are being asked.
So the way you are worried about getting marks, I am worried about the questions to click in the exam. Because if I skip a question, so I always miss as an aspirant, because aspirants always look for new topics and new questions which are likely to be asked.
Right.
Definitely, I miss.
One book that shaped or changed your worldview?
I cannot say that one particular book which has changed or anything, but this newspaper and the Hindu newspaper has changed my worldview. There's no doubt regarding this.
Your favorite book? One book that you've really loved reading. Really enjoyed
See, I'm not
reading.
I'm not what do you call, my hobby is not reading. Okay. But my hobby is to read and understand and know what is behind. Okay. So I love reading even, G.C. Leong, for example. I mean, from geography, and it is so much of information, so informative. Every time when you read, you get some new idea from that book. So I feel even the basic NCERT books, we should start loving and learn. I mean, we should start loving it. Then it will be more interesting. Otherwise, novels and all, yes, but I don't think I can tell something which has actually inspired or made a lot of difference in my life. I don't think I will be able to tell that.
So this has been a very insightful session. With this, I think we'll wind up for
it's my pleasure talking to you, and
Thank you, sir.
I would like to come up with more discussions which can be useful for any civil service aspirant.
Sir, I think the key takeaway from this conversation is that UPSC is a win-win situation. You either become the learned citizen or the officer that you wanted to. So, Mr. Jojo Mathew, thank you for having this conversation with us. And to everyone listening, preparation is not just about clearing the exam. It is becoming worthy of your responsibility. Until next time, aspirants, thank you.